Welcome to the Live Full, Work Fun podcast. This is the show to encourage you to live your life to the fullest and do fun work that fuels your lifestyle. Hi, I'm your host, Gayla Scrivener. Every week, you'll be introduced to amazing guests, useful resources, and inspirational stories. You'll discover opportunities and perspectives to shape your version of living full and working fun. Before we get started with the show, I have a question for you. Are you a busy solopreneur struggling to find the time to consistently post to your social accounts? Well, the Scrivener Solutions team and I are introducing Scrivener Social, the easy-to-use social media scheduling platform paired with all of our workflows. It simplifies the entire posting process, saving you time and boosting your social media marketing efforts. Here's how it works. First, you subscribe to Scrivener Social, choosing the support level that best fits your needs. Second, we have onboarding calls to help you set up your account and give you the guidance for streamlining your posting process. Third, you implement your plan using our workflows to get more out of your social media marketing. Now, you could continue to do it alone, being frustrated and feeling guilty that you never get around to posting to your social accounts for your small business. Or you could save time, energy, and frustration by using an easy-to-use social scheduling platform backed by a support team that helps you streamline the whole process. You deserve a system that makes posting to your social media faster and more efficient. Go to scrivenersocial.com and subscribe today. Now, on to the show. Hey there, welcome to Season 8 of the Live Full Work Fun podcast. Hi, I'm Gayla Scrivener, joined by co-host Fran Groesbeck. And this is the show where we explore topics that help you create your lifestyle to live full and work fun. Oh, Fran, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. Every day is a good day. And I'm excited to be here with you today. This is going to be an exciting topic. This is a fun topic.
This is a great topic, and I'm just going to have full disclosure that, sometimes when we plan things don't plan out exactly how we want to. And right now, me being a mama of 3 elderly wiener dogs, they're a little restless right now. So our listeners may hear some things in the background, but you know what? We're just going to go with it. And I think that that's just going to slide right into what we want to talk about. And I know that sometimes we take a lot of things, so we stress ourselves out with a lot of things, and then we hold ourselves back because we're afraid to make changes, afraid to be willing to do things. And you and I were talking about this concept of willingness warrior. And I love that phrase or that title that you came up with. Why don't you tell a little bit about what is a willingness warrior? What does that mean?
Sure. I'm going to start with something I use. I'm a very visual person. I love to have images that correlate to experiences and help me, kind of like some people have mantras or sayings or things like that. I use a lot of visuals. So when I first started on this journey, I have 4 go-to visuals, and they're all warrior stances. So one is the warrior standing up nice and strong, shield and sword at the go. The second one is warrior on bended knee, knocked down, but still ready to get back up. Next one is the warrior flat on their back. They've been knocked down, but at least they're still facing up at the sky. And the last one is when you are face down in the dirt or even the mud, and you're not sure how you're going to get up or move forward. But each one of those 4 warrior positions, they do get back up. And there's a Japanese proverb, fall down 7, get up 8. And every one of those, they keep going. And what I realized in that was something, a quote I had heard once from Thomas Jefferson: if you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done. And that really opened my eyes, this willingness to do things others aren't willing to do. And I mean that in a good way, meaning going the extra mile in researching something, willing to ask for help. We'll talk about that one a little bit later. Willingness to try something new, especially for those of us who've had long careers. You might have seen something done once before and it didn't work. Might be a new way to do it, especially in today's world with digital technology and different tools out there. It's a willingness to see things in a different way. It's a willingness to turn things upside down and look for new perspective. And it's a willingness, this is a big one. And one is to realize you don't know everything that you need to know on that topic, or you just don't know everything you need to know. It's a hard pill to swallow sometimes. I know for myself, that was a big lesson I learned over my life. I think there was a point where I did a lot of I know it all, and didn't want to take or admit that I didn't, or take help. But some of the greatest minds of our time, their greatest skill was recognizing what they didn't know and hiring the right people or asking for the right help. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for those who are willing to hear some new information, hear a different perspective, and try something new.
I love that. I just came from a conference. I've owned my business now for over 10 years, and you get into it's like nobody knows my business like I know my business, and I do things the way I want to do things. And you go to a conference and you have to be willing to open your mind to perspectives. And I noticed that some people I would be visiting with, that the minds might have been a little closed off, or they had a little bit of perspectives like, oh, this is not for me. This is not for me. I think that it's important that, in this example, I went to the conference, and I have learned to go to any conference like that with just that openness to absorb this. The topic, the keynote topic, may not be pertaining exactly to me. For example, one of the speeches was about hiring your first virtual assistant, and it was given by a virtual assistant company. My structure in my business is that I have employees right now. So I did not close off what I was hearing. This woman has a phenomenal story. I hope to have her on our show someday. But she has a phenomenal transition story, and her taking risks and being open that way. So I gained perspective that way. But then I also gained perspective. It's like, in my position of my business, I need to be willing to give up certain things and open my mind for things, and hearing her journey about things. Now, I might do it differently. Like, I might not hire a virtual assistant from her company, because that piece did not fit with me. But I think that we sell ourselves short when we go to events or listen to speeches, or listen to even a podcast, or a book, read a book, that we close ourselves off and saying, oh, that's not going to work for me, and just close it. There's got to be some sort of nugget to gain a different perspective, even if it's the perspective is like, holy crap, I'm doing something right. Yay. Because sometimes I in my business, I'm just like, I feel alone sometimes, even though I have a team, and I have great friends like you that I have the support, but sometimes it feels alone, and it's like, man, I'm in the depths. And then you hear something, it's like, hey, I must not be doing everything wrong. and so I kind of went on that tangent, because the willingness to open your mind is the first step, and accepting without judgment that, oh no, this is not for me, or no, this is not going to help me at all.
I agree 100%, Gayla, and I love what you're saying. I love to read. I devour. I will be reading, and currently reading, like 5 or 6 books at the same time, depending different topics. I just love to read. I realized recently I used to read looking for the answer. When I didn't get the whole answer, I'd get upset, or I'd be reading something, and similar to what you're saying about attending a conference, I'd bristle. I'd be like, what are they talking about? Or I'd get all offensive. I've learned that if I have a body reaction, I tense up, I get angry, I challenge the writer in my head, it's a good book then. There's something in it I'm supposed to be learning. To your point, maybe it's just learning that's one way I don't want to approach things. Maybe, and this just happened with a fiction book, but I read and the book was not really connecting with it, but I pushed through. I said, I feel like there's something I'm supposed to get. And then the last page, and it was a fiction story, but it said she connected with her own powerful confidence, her true self. And I went, that's the whole reason I read the book, was just to see that line. So I'm really aware now, if I have a reaction, that those moments, if I'm listening to a speaker, if I'm reading a book, if I'm watching something, listening to a podcast, audiobook, whatever it is, and I have a reaction, especially if it's really strong, negative, I'm like, okay, what mirror am I looking into? What is it that I need to become aware of? So now I've changed my approach. And whatever one of those situations, I'm no longer looking for someone to tell me the answer. I'm looking for what new piece of information, even if it's just one snippet, am I going to get out of it? Sometimes the whole content is wonderful and teaches something. And sometimes I only connect with one bit of it. I also love what you said about without judgment and keeping an open mind. I'm going to add one more piece to that. It's an open mind and an open heart. And the open heart is more towards yourself, because we are the worst judges of ourselves, right?
Absolutely. You are so right.
Meet someone at a conference and they're doing something that you're not doing, you think, oh, the first thing you do, instead of being like, oh, I want to learn that, we default to, oh, I'm not doing that right now. No, I should be doing that. Why am I not doing that? And there's just this cycle of this guilt and sometimes even shame, or we're just hard on ourselves. So when you keep that open mind, keep an open heart too. When you learn something, know that it's coming to you at the right time. And whether you're 25 or 52, it's coming to you at the right time. And keep that open heart. So not only filter the information without judgment, but approach yourself without judgment. And all of a sudden, things become a little lighter and a little easier. And seeing new information isn't so scary.
I love that you said that, and that it's so important to open your heart, open our minds, our hearts, and be able to receive. And then you said something very, very good. We have to be willing. If we're going to be a willingness warrior, we need to know, we need to ask for help when we need it. I know you and I have a difficult time with asking for help. We're just like, okay, we're going to plow through this, and by golly, I'm going to figure this out if it's the death of me, you know? So what does it mean to that's a characteristic of somebody that's a willingness warrior, is that they will ask for help?
It's such a key to stepping into being a willingness warrior, because we unfortunately associate asking for help as a weakness. I don't want to say all, I never use absolutes. There's plenty of us out there who now see asking for help as not. We'll talk about absolutes too. But when you ask for help, it does make you vulnerable, because it means you have to admit to someone that you don't know something, right? When you ask the right people and you know who your community, your tribe, your team, whoever it is, when you know who they are, it actually sends them a message of trust. It means that you trust them to be this vulnerable and say, I don't know this. And what's amazing is when you cross over that threshold, and for me, you have been one of the biggest partners in teaching me this. And when we met, I will admit being nervous because you knew so much and I was so impressed by you. And then one day in our working together, I asked for help. The most amazing thing did happen. You didn't make fun of me. You didn't put me down. You jumped at the chance to help me. You're like, okay, we got this. And it wasn't taking over. It wasn't doing it for me. it was helping me figure it out. And I left that, it was a Zoom call we're on. It changed me. And so it's now something I am trying to pay forward and teach others. I'm teaching my daughters, I'm teaching my family, but asking for help, if we can again change the thought, it is not a weakness, it shows trust. And that is the foundation of building a life that is, a full life, and where you can then trust your teams at work. And trust is the foundation of everything. So asking for help, if we could change this mindset and show that it builds trust, that's a big willingness step. You have to be willing to change the thought. But that's what, to me, asking for help is all about.
Well, I know I've been guilty, and thank you for that, friend. I mean, my journey and working with you has been, uh, uh, you know, full disclosure. When I first met you, it's like Fran knows it all. I don't know anything. Am I doing it wrong? So isn't that funny how we have these stories that come up in our mind, but both of us have we work with other individuals, we coach, we consult, and the best people that we move forward with, that we see this transformation, is somebody that's willing to be open and and try new things and ask for that help. But I know for me personally, I've had to jump over that hurdle of, okay, I might be in a coaching situation, and I went left that thinking, oh, that didn't work. Well, it wasn't because of that coach that I chose, because they were phenomenal. It was because of my closed mindedness and me not putting in the reps or getting up. I love what you were saying about the different visuals that you had of the warrior in different stances, and I was not willing to receive and then take action because I had closed off. And so in my journey, I know that sometimes relationships, like me being coached and it didn't work, it was a me thing, not so much the coach thing. And I'm going to say that it's because sometimes we work in our role as coaches or consultants that we so want to help that individual. They took the step to ask for help, but that next step is taking action and doing things that others aren't willing to do. And having that leap of faith, as you said, you need to have faith that I've got to try this, because if what was that quote by Thomas Jefferson?
If you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done.
And
It could be as
some
simple as asking for help. That may be the thing you've never done.
right, but then we've got this, that we ask for help, and then you've got the hard pills to swallow. Is like, okay, I have to be willing to, like, maybe you have a sales coach, and then you're being told you need to make reach out to 5 contacts. Like, no, I don't want to do that. We have to be willing to do something that may be uncomfortable.
You know, a key to this, I love these moments when things click and come together. I believe that it's never just one thing, and it's each situation and solution is a combination of things. In order to ask for help, and you've said this twice now, and it is a key in everything that we do, especially as coaches, the people we work with. And when we are coached and we do something, you have to be willing to receive. And this also goes back to that mindset about ourselves. What stories are we telling ourselves? Are we telling ourselves we're worthy to receive, whatever it may be, help, new team members, growing our business? If that thought is there, that there's any even small level of self-sabotage in our thoughts, you can ask for help, but it may not get in. It may not permeate the surface. A big part of the willingness warrior is it's every level of your being. So it's even your own mindset, willing to change your mindset, willing to say to yourself, you know what, I'm pretty darn awesome. And I may not know everything, but I know the right people to ask, and I'm going to go and I'm going to do this, or I'm going to go try this. And that willingness to receive is a big thing. And that's definitely a criteria for us without even thinking about it, that I realize that we look for in our clients, and we need to be in ourselves if we're going to get the benefit of a conference or a coach or a podcast. So it's really interesting. I love that willingness to receive. It really goes hand in hand with this whole concept.
And when you're totally like felt beaten down, I go back to your visuals. Sometimes when we're that warrior, that we are so strong and stuff, that we can't move forward because we think we know it all, you know? And then the other spectrum is we're face down in the dirt and we're ashamed maybe and not asking for help at that time. There's so many different spectrums. But what are maybe 3 things that we could do to become a willingness warrior? Because I've never heard that concept until you were, and it's like, I want to strive to be that, you know?
I would say the first thing is that open mind, and get rid of absolutes. Nothing, never, every time, all the time. Life changes every day. There's moments to learn. When you set your mind in absolutes, and those of us, I have been guilty of it myself for many, many years, especially those of us who have long careers in something, and you've seen things happen, you go, oh, this will never work. I've been there, I've tried this, it'll never work. The one way you did it didn't work. And isn't a great lesson in life the analogy of the light bulb? He tried it how many hundreds of times before it worked. When they asked him about all those failures, he goes, no, those were just 101 ways that I won't do it again. So we have to come into this with this mindset of getting rid of the absolutes. So as soon as you hear yourself go, that's never going to work. I can't do that. Oh, and can't. We have to eradicate can't.
I had a second grade teacher that said can't never did anything.
So I love that. I have one that the one I use that I tell my clients is, because I believe in adapt and flow. If I can, I will. If I can't, I'll adapt. And give me any situation in this world where someone says can't, and I can show you this. There are options to adapt. I'll tell you a funny story. If I said can't to my father, he wouldn't answer me until I turned it into what I could do. So you had this way of training me that can't should not be in your vocabulary. There are absolutely times we can't do something, whether it be financial or maybe time related or family related or something, but there is always another option. There is always another way, even if it's parking it, even if it's just putting a pin in it for the moment. So I've got no absolutes, got getting rid of the word can't, or adapting it, looking at when the word can't pops up, think, how can we adapt and flow with that? Is there another option, or just have to put a pin in it for now and come back to it and see if it's still a value later? And the last one is to remember something really important, especially when you're face down in the dirt, that if all you get to do that day is flip over, that's enough. That's enough. Every inch forward is growth, is movement. The minute you let whatever's weighing on you push you further down in the dirt, it's winning. And life is full of those. You don't have to jump back up to position 1. You just sometimes have to flip over. And if you think about climbing a mountain, if you think about planting a seed, none of those things happen like that. You don't get to the top of the mountain in one step or one leap, and no seed turns into a tree overnight. Cut yourself some slack. Sometimes I tell myself the greatest thing I did that day was get out of bed. Just those 3 things for me are the real foundation to start this journey of being a willingness warrior. They're simple. And it's just being kind to yourself is wraps those 3 things up.
What I got out of what you just said too is that sometimes when we're face down in the dirt, the best thing that you can do is flip over. And I got out of that was appreciate that step and embrace that this is a fantastic progress if that just happened, and embrace that, because that feels, to me, it's like when you take a moment. I mean, there is a reason why there's that old saying, stop and smell the roses. I mean, it's just one small thing, one small moment of having recognized something positive in the situation, and reflecting and embracing that that can spark joy. And if we can find one thing that sparks us joy to move forward, we are warriors.
I, Gayla, that is so true. And it makes me think, as you were saying that, another visual popped up. So you flip over and you're looking up at the sky. And you know what? We don't look up enough. We're always looking down. We're always at our desks. We're always what's right in front of us. But if you, when you flip over and you can look up at that sky, you know, the blue sky is always there. Go on a flight. Even when it's raining, you go above the clouds, there's the blue sky. Those clouds will pass. Whatever was, sometimes they're little clouds, sometimes they're tropical storms, sometimes they're hurricanes. But it will pass. It will pass, and that blue sky will come back. And to be grateful, thankful for wherever we are, whatever we've got, and know that you can and you will get up again. That's huge. And it's funny, a state of gratitude, a lot of books talk about it, a lot of people talk about practicing it. It really does work. It really does work. And it can be as simple as, I love caffeine.
I love it too.
The first thing I'm grateful for in the morning is my cup of coffee. And it's not just about the caffeine, but I have this little process I do in making it. And it's, I don't know, I have some fun in the morning making this silly coffee the way I do. And I just, being thankful, being grateful, they say it's one of the most powerful energies you can put out there and in yourself. We're all energy. So I love that. So really getting into something I will probably talk about in another episode, which is to be careful of looking at what everybody else has. Beware of studying, really delving into the competition and what everybody else is doing. I actually don't do that with my clients till way down the road, till we know what your vision and values are, what your goals, your objectives, who you are, what's your why, who you are. And then you look at that and you only touch on it. You don't immerse yourself in it. You find yourself really drowning in, oh, look what they have, look what they're doing. They're doing this better than me. Stop right away. Pick one of those stances and go, nope, I'm good. I'm going to flip over and I'm going to keep going, and take from that. Instead of beating yourself up or doing the negative dance, take from it what you'd like to do. And if you can do it right now, awesome. Start the journey. If you can't, figure out how to adapt. And even if that just means putting a pin in it and remembering that lesson. But that's really the journey of a willingness warrior. Is, what's the saying? Life isn't about the destination, it's about the journey. And really, if you think about it, there is no final, well, there's one final destination.
Right, right.
But there's always these opportunities to learn and grow. And if you're at a point where you want something more or different, then it's just about picking a new path.
Mm-hmm. It changes. It could change from day to day. It could change from year to year, or, seasons to seasons. It's just different, and it's okay to embrace and the different phases we are in our lives. And just living full, to me, is that journey, right? And doing work gives us purpose, whatever that work is. You and I are both mothers, and we were single moms for a period of time, and we were working single moms. And during that phase, when our girls were younger, we just did things, and that was the phase of our life. But I guess where I'm going with this is that we did work to make sure that we were raising our girls the way we did. We might have not always loved it. Heck, we may not always love what we do today. The show is called Work Fun, but what really fun means is bringing work has a purpose, not just a paycheck. And a paycheck and money to me, and I don't remember, I'm sure it's a philosopher somewhere, but money is certificate of appreciation is what I've heard. So that's the exchange. You work for somebody, and there's value to what you do, or value to the product that you have. So you exchange certificates of appreciation to, have that. Well, for for that, for our work to have purpose, to live a full life, we're adding value to this world. We're adding value. And so I think it's very good for us to figure out in that journey that it's okay. It's okay to put a pin in something right now, because later we could do it, or we can work toward it, or we may find out, and after a while it's like, man, that's not important to me anymore. This is what's important to me. And it was good to be striving at that, but you could pivot and have no guilt. Have no guilt. And it's just really, I love that you have the concept of willingness warrior. You have some great coaching within that. And I love that, because our journey, we're on this world for a split second, and we make a difference. Not We make a difference to the world around us, to the people that we meet, to the family that we raise. And I think it's just really cool. So
When you first told me about Live Full Work Fun, it really hit me. And I felt like I saw either an infinity loop, or circle. Because if you live full, you work fun. If you work fun, you live full. And it's just, one can't happen without the other. I finally came back to a life where I can't wait to get to work, even on the days where I know something is terrible or going to stink or whatever. There's some challenge I'm facing. And I'm then able to now, but because I'm doing something I love and having fun at it, and I then, when I'm with my family or friends or do things for myself, it's a fuller experience. And when you do this, when you live full and work fun, you can tackle anything. You can take on anything. Work fun and living full, it's not always going to be easy. There will be challenges and changes and things that pop up. But if that's the core of your existence, you can get through anything.
doesn't it feel good, though, when you have a challenge and you're able to walk through that challenge? That's where the warrior, it's like, yes, I won the day, or I won that, and I learned something from it, and feels so good.
I agree. And a warrior doesn't go into every battle with the same weapon. So you build this toolbox. And that's what I believe will help people do through the podcast this year, is build a toolbox of things, whether it's a quote, whether it's a practice, whether it's a book, that they will be able to fall back on when they face a challenge. And they'll have this toolbox and they'll peek in, or weapons arsenal, and they'll peek in and grab the one they need for whatever they're facing.
Awesome. This has been so, I love, I'm so glad we're doing this season together. Fran, this is so exciting. And everybody listening out there, I hope that you've gained, are you a willingness warrior? I know that you are. It's just drawing that out. We fall on times that we don't think that we have the strength to be that warrior. And then there's times that we're on top of the world, and we all have that. And I'd love for you to hop over to Facebook, and let's continue that conversation in the Live Full Work Fun Facebook group. And all the links are down in the show notes. And what's your perspective on your willingness to be, your willingness warrior story. Fran and I would love to hear your stories about you being a willingness warrior. Thanks again for listening. And until next time, have a fantastic week. Live full, work fun. Bye-bye, everybody. This episode has been brought to you by Scrivener Social, the easy-to-use social scheduling platform built for the busy solopreneur. You deserve a system that makes posting to your social media faster and more efficient. Go to scrivenersocial.com and subscribe today.